There's a quality that I remember from many years ago of a person wanting to know that they have somehow or other made a difference in the world. The fancy name for that is historicity. It's defined as some factual way in which there is an evidence that you have affected history, that you have, because you existed, something was changed, something was created, something was new. And I guess at this point in my life, and on my spiritual journey, I pause and wonder about my historicity. It's only natural. I'm sure all of us, as we go on in years, look back and say, did I make a difference? And I look back at my life and I can see quite a few areas where I think the world is somewhat different because I existed. Now, I'm aware this could also be ego, and I hope it's not ego. I hope it's fact-based, but the fact is that I was the right person in the right place at the right time. Not that I was so great, it's just that there was a sort of like a gap existing, and I came along and there was circumstances that enabled me to move into that gap and to some extent fill it. I think that was particularly true in the field of aging, because when I first became coordinator of the project on aging in Lansing, Michigan, I think it was in 1954, there was really very little being done for older people. And there were what we called rest homes in those days, which was basically a nice lady that would take in a few older people and take care of them. There were practically no programs for the elderly at all. Retirement was just beginning to become a reality because the unions had begun to negotiate retirement benefits with employers, and Social Security had come into being a few years before that. But Social Security wasn't adequate for people to really live in retirement. And so the labor unions particularly started leading the way for people to be able to retire financially. So all of this there was this big hole here. People were starting to be able to think about retiring, but to what, and to do what, and to live where, etc. So that's where I came in, and it's really, I don't know, I really think I'd like to sit down sometime and pull together all the things that we did, and I say we did because I was part of a movement, but I was not the movement. I was definitely a part of it. I remember I was so fortunate that Dr. Fred Schwartz, who was the chairman of the AMA Committee on Aging, was the chairman of the Project on Aging. And I became a real disciple of his. He was a wonderful man, and he was very vigorous right up to the day he died. Practiced a wonderful form of internal medicine and helped many, many people, especially me. But one of the things Dr. Schwartz taught me was that we should not look at aging as a disease, that it was not something wrong, it was a benefit, and that it was the benefit of many years of living, of experience, of time. And so my orientation towards older people, and you got to remember now, this is 1954, I was, I don't know how old I was probably 20, in my early 20s. My whole orientation at that time was not to look on older people as a problem or a disease or something, which was pretty much the case then, but as a whole residue of experience and that could help this world be better. And that was the orientation I took, and that's the orientation I brought into my field. And the result of that was that because of my age, I had a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of drive, as that industrial psychologist told me many years later. And so I strove to use my energy and my drive to make the world better for older people. That carried me a long ways. And I'm just very grateful to all the people that came along and gave me the experience that I needed to have to grow. You know, what we talk about a spiritual journey, I think all of life is a spiritual journey. We grow physically, and we grow mentally, but then physically we start slowing down. Mentally, we may be not as fast as we used to be, but spiritually, we can continue to grow throughout our whole life. And to me, that's the spiritual journey that I've been on. And working in the field of aging has been a tremendous experience for me. I look back at being the President Johnson signing the Older Americans Act, and there I was, 30 years of age, right in front of him, waiting to get my pen that he used to sign the part of the Older Americans Act with. And it just made me remember I was one of the founders of the National Association of State Units on Aging. I was a member of the 15-person group that was created to create a national policy for the elderly. I advised President Kennedy, President Nixon, President Johnson in the field of aging, and was very active at the national level. It was a great life, and I really appreciated it. And then when I got into the financial planning field, again, I was one of the early people in that field. And I got a very forward-thinking and empowering boss, Colin Hampton, who saw my need, my whole approach, which was to take care of the total financial needs of my clients, not just their insurance needs or their investment needs or their real estate needs, but their total financial needs. And to do that through almost a casework kind of approach, where you sit down with people and you interview them and you get to know what they really want out of life and what they've got to work with, and you help them put together a financial plan. So I became one of the very early financial planners and was involved in a lot of very, very early work in the financial planning field. And so it's just been a matter of being a right person in the right place at the right time. And I just don't think that's an accident. I think God has a purpose for us. And my friend Dan used to tell me, he said, "Jim, I've never heard you say no to anything," because I didn't. People would ask me to do something, and I'd look at it and I'd say, "Oh, let's take a shot at it," and I did. And it was that openness, that willingness, the ability to see the needs and to move into those things that helped me do a great deal. And I look back at my life and consider my historicity, and I feel very good about my life. And it isn't over yet. Who knows what lies ahead? I'm only 87, for crying out loud. So I hope you're on your spiritual journey and find your own little niche in this world. You look back and you look at how you've helped make this world a little bit better place to live, because I know you have.